money that I collected. It's honorable that brought
contribution to Nigerian peace.
Me, I want men, all of now look into this in Nigeria. When we want to take steps every day to make this country a better place.
And the new Nigeria is
education is telling them it's time to change.
All right, it's a lovely Tuesday evening, and you're right here tuned to the program Ground Zero. The program Ground Zero is a program where we pick up topical issues in the polity, and with guests and experts in-house, and of course you, the listener, will try our best to give you different perspectives to the issues and make you understand these issues better. My name is Ehis Agbon. Today on the program, we shall be looking at the palliative distribution. It is the in thing now. Everybody's talking about distribution of palliatives and all of that. And even as we talk about that, what readily comes to our mind is what happened just a few years back when there was a palliative distribution during the COVID-19 lockdown. And of course, preparations that were made and tracking and monitoring of the palliative distribution and all that happened. Recently, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Bola Tinubu, withdrew subsidies on petroleum, and that resulted in pushing some people back into poverty, while some are just at the edge of the poverty boundary. And in order to protect these persons from falling into poverty or sliding into poverty, he pronounced that indeed they were going to give some palliatives. In many clients, people do not really understand what it means to give palliatives. Well, for those that are listening to us outside Nigeria and elsewhere that are not familiar with the word, palliatives in Nigerian parlance is that release of some form of grant to cushion the effects of whatever situation we are facing. And today we'll be looking at that. Also in recent time, both at the federal and the state level, they set some doubt on the fact that palliative distribution needs to be properly planned and arranged. And there was actually a particular register that was designed to help do all of that. These and many more will be what we'll be looking at on the program today. I'm hoping and believing that that will be able to have a clearer understanding of these issues by the time we do all of that. Okay, and to help us understand these issues better, I have the chairperson of the Kaduna State Social Protection and Accountability Coalition, KADSPAC, with me in the studio in the person of Jessica Bethlomew. Jessica, you're welcome to the program.
Good evening, Mr. Ehis. Good to see you, and thank you for having me in your studio. My name is Jessica Bethlomew, just like he has said. I am the chairperson for Kaduna Social Protection Accountability Coalition, KADSPAC, a social protection accountability mechanism that consists of both civil society organizations and media. Thank you.
All right, you've had it. Now, for the listener and the viewers that would want to be part of the program, of course, our different handles is made available. Meanwhile, you can watch us live now on Procyon TV, on YouTube, and also on Facebook. All right, and also you'd have the opportunity of contributing to the program by going to our various social media handles, most especially on Facebook, on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Thread. We have a unified handle, and the handle is Procyon RTV. Just search for @Procyon RTV on all of the popular social media handles, and you'll be able to see us. You can watch us, you can listen to us, and all of that. Also, if you want to have it all in one place, just go download the Procyon Radio and TV app. The Procyon Radio and TV app gives you an opportunity to be able to watch us, listen to us, and read all the content of procyonnews.com. So these are all channels we've made available for you to do just that. Okay. All right. Welcome back from that timeout. All right. Like I said, the program is Ground Zero. It's coming to you from Procyon Radio and Television. And for our terrestrial listeners, they are listening to us via Invicta 98.9 FM. My guest, like I said earlier, like I earlier introduced, is Jessica Bethlomew, the chairperson of Kaduna Social Protection and Social Protection Accountability Coalition, KADSPAC. All right, let's look at these issues now. In my introduction, I talked about the fact that because of the withdrawal of fuel subsidy, many Nigerians are sliding back into poverty, and the federal government deemed it necessary to provide some form of palliative to cushion the effect of the removal of the subsidy. And in the process of doing that, in order that it's not done haphazardly and it's properly done, there is a need to have it properly done. And I recall that during the last palliative that was given during COVID-19, your coalition was part and parcel of all of the process, right from inception, planning, development, and even tracking and monitoring. Now, tell us why there is a need for palliatives in the first place in view of the withdrawal of this fuel subsidy.
Okay, so the reason why there is need for palliative is because currently there is an economic hardship was caused by the removal of the subsidy. So we all are aware that the subsidy has been able to sort of compensate road users for the fuel they purchase. Mm-hmm. So now you can imagine removing what has cushioned your access to fuel at a cheaper rate. It has been withdrawn for the purchasing power of fuel.
Yeah. Now
it means that we are now purchasing it at the market value, which is high. If you are looking at even most pedestrians, those that don't even have their cars, they have stopped using vehicles. People are parked in their houses. Vehicles are parked in their houses because they cannot afford to buy the fuel at the amount that it is currently selling. So the fuel subsidy has sort of, it has caused economic hardship on Nigerians, as well as initially we had a multidimensional poverty index that stated that Nigerians we have 133 million Nigerians who are multidimensionally poor. Yeah. So you can imagine that at the time that report was out, there was subsidy. Then you remove subsidy, you will see an increase in that number of those that are multidimensionally poor. So the reason we are asking that government provides some sort of caution to cushion the effect of the subsidy removal is so that people do not go down to either increase in crime rates or increase in the number of malnourished children, increase in out-of-pocket expenditure on health, education will decline. A lot of factors that can be attributed to subsidy removal would occur because of the hardship experienced in Nigeria. So we are part of the stakeholders that suggested to government, especially the president, that there should be mechanisms put on ground to be able to cushion this effect. Number one is to provide a mass transit that can take people from a particular location to another one at a very subsidized rate. And then we also suggested, providing palliatives so that household livelihood will have something instead of total lack in the house. They will have something that will enable them to be able to provide at most their square meals. So it boils down to one of the suggestions, which is the palliative. I noticed that it was not the major suggestion. We had other things that when you see them play out, it also helps the economy to go up on the road, that kind of thing. But again, I think our country, we love this palliative so much. I don't know, maybe because there are some other people that benefit from it other than the poor and vulnerable, but then government is always quick to jump. But then, okay, we are even happy that they've decided to do palliative. Now, the palliative distribution is supposed to at least be able to support the household. Now, palliative can be in form of cash. It can be in form of food vouchers. It can also be in form of inputs, like agricultural inputs, seedlings, fertilizers, or any agricultural inputs that you can think of. But then we are hearing different states with their different methods of palliative. The president only said that they will give palliative. The methodology of the palliative was given to the state to decide that, the governors to decide that. Yeah, because you could see that everybody was sort of bringing out their methods independently. For Kaduna State, now back to Kaduna State, we saw that there was a press release by the governor on some palliative measures. One, there's going to be food items distributed to households. Another one is bringing the rail, back to life, Kaduna to Kafanchan, Kafanchan to Kaduna, so that it will ease transportation. There's another one that talks about agriculture. There's another one, I think he had like 4 or 5 different palliative packages at every stage. He calls it first phase palliative will be done foodstuff to poor and vulnerable. The second phase will look at this. The third phase will look at this. So we observe that those phases are very nice. They are good. The plan is to ensure that you cushion the effects and then at the same time address poverty. But our challenge here is that as a coalition that have been supporting government from 2019 till date, even during the palliative, you remember, we actively got involved. After the first phase was, in total chaos, we had to write to the government, recommend best practices, and then they brought us on board and were able to, get some quick wins from the second and third palliative. Now, if after so much work done in following like a laid down process, then you come back to when there's a new government, we have hope now that there's a new government. Possibly we're going to see new strategies deployed by the new government to cushion effects of poverty and the like. Then you see that a similar thing is playing. Number one, what I mean by similar thing is playing is that the committee that was saddled with the responsibility of designing the palliative, and even down to the discussions around targeting, we were not involved. We did not take part. Rather, we heard that there were unions that were participants of such discussion. So our thought is, for being able to track, at least I know that KADSPAC has enough mechanisms on ground to track and help government to get results in ensuring that the right people, there's no error of exclusion or inclusion. Exclusion in the sense that the right household that's supposed to be targeted should have palliative, and inclusion in the wrong household that is not supposed to be targeted is having palliative. So those are some of the things that we've identified. Mr. Ehis, to shock you to know that the social register, because again, our discussion also has to do with the social register. The social register is one of the proven scientific methods of targeting. It's not only used in Nigeria, it's used in other countries. It's a global practice. So if you have a governor of your state that is not accepting that standard, that best practice, how would you feel? We will feel worried. We will feel worried that Kaduna is one of the most beautiful states, most educated states, one of the best in terms of capacity, and even in the way we do our things.
Don't forget too that we are the first nation state OGP member.
Yes.
We have already embraced the open government partnership, which means that everything we do should be of international standard.
Exactly, best practice.
Yes.
And then you will get worried, like, are we going back to those days that we have to start all over again? We need to go and start going to explain some of these practices. When we are signed into the OGP, do we need to start all over again? So that's our worry. We are not saying that this palliative methodology that was designed by the government is not good. No. We are saying that the way you are going to implement it is what we are worried about.
Yeah.
Are we using a process that at least the citizens at the community will say, yes, we are aware, we know, and we are ready to take the blame for any action from the palliative distribution? Are we doing that? No. Our governor currently does not see the NSR, the SSR, the State Social Register, as an important tool for targeting.
Okay.
Yes, and that's where we are worried.
I just want us to, for the benefit of those that are listening to us, even the governor or even those close to him that are listening to us, run us through the process of developing that register so that they would know how important or how inclusive the development of that register actually is.
Okay, so the State Social Register was developed using a process called the community-based targeting process. It means that those in the officers under the state operating coordinating unit will bring communities, will go to communities and sit down with community members, not just traditional leader, traditional leader, youth group, women group, widows,
leaders,
PWDs, minority, all the groups in that community they will bring them together, and then they will allow them to define poverty.
Yeah.
What is your definition of somebody that is poor? Define it. Once they've defined it, they say, okay, based on and all of them have agreed, these groups will agree with that definition.
Yeah.
So once they've defined it and they've agreed that this is what stands for us in our community, Mr. A's community, as somebody that is poor, Oya, can you tell us who are those people that that fit into this your definition of poverty in your community? Then they will now start selecting. Each group divided. They are divided so that nobody imposes on the other one. The community leader is totally out of this group. The youth leaders are out. Youth will stay in one position. The women group will stay in one position. When they are done, they will write the names on the paper. They will give them the paper. You write your name or inside your women. Which woman do you think is for? They will write. Youth will write. This is a practice in the community. I've been there, I've seen it, I've observed it. And when they are finished, they will collate the list. They will put it together and read it out. Is it the thing that you people have said? They will say yes. Then when they are done collating, they will now agree, because you remember each group has defined this, it has brought out its own list. So this group might not agree with this group. So at that level of discussion is the cleaning of that list.
Yes.
By that argument, back and forth, all of them will now come up with, they will agree on, okay, this person actually is poor. For it to appear in this list, that list, and the other, because again, one of the beautiful things I've observed with that community-based targeting is, once you see a name of a person appear in the group of youth, in the group of women, in the group of persons with disability, it means that indeed the community have identified that this person is trying hard to live by. They collect it and they ask, is this the name? They agree. They say yes, and it is signed. It is signed by the community leader, It is signed by the GRO. You know, they sign it so that nobody tampers with that list.
Yes.
Now, this is one phase. The second phase is the enumeration.
Okay.
That enumeration is now going to households to see, okay, this person, does he fall truly at the factors within the confines of his home? Is it true that
he is poor?
Exactly. You will see questions like, how many times do you eat in a day? Do you own a chicken? Do you have roof? They even use their eyes to observe if there's a roof. In fact, do you know that at the end of the day, when you go, you see some of these houses, they are living in all those like Ashanti houses, thatched houses with nylon.
The ones we call bacha.
Because they don't have any access to livelihood. Now, we are not saying that process is not flawed. Of course, when you are dealing with people, there is some level of inconsistencies, because I don't want to call them bad names. Inconsistencies, because it might be deliberate, it might not be deliberate. There are some level of inconsistencies in what they do, and so you will see some level of some error in inclusion, meaning at the end of the day, possibly they will target somebody due to emotions, target somebody that does not really need that help, or they will exclude somebody because of emotions again. So this person is not actually from our community. So even after we give the person, we put the person's name, the person enjoys the benefit and goes. So you see how extensive this thing is done.
Yeah.
So for the fact that the community are the ones that define it, can we not say that they should have some level of ownership of that activity?
They should indeed. That's even the foundation of democracy in its true sense.
Exactly. So when you now bring another targeting mechanism, for instance, that it is not known to people like this coalition who have been with supporting government actively, why would we be worried? That's why we are here today. We are worried that our community people, our community groups are calling us to ask, what is our fate? What is happening? We did not hear anything. Is it not the register? At least if it's the register, I know that if my name does not come out, I know that I am not supposed to get. Now, is it that they are going to select? If it's selection, you know that it will not meet us, it will not reach us. All those questions, they are already asking questions, and we do not have an answer. We do not have an answer, and because we do not have an answer, we do not know the best way to go about it, other than to say, to come, and try to use this medium to advocate.
Yes, you are listening to Ground Zero, and it's coming to you from Procyon Radio in collaboration with Invicta FM. And today we are looking at palliative distribution and the role of the social register in all of this process. And like you've also had, this process was done some few years back during when we had the COVID-19 pandemic, and there was a need to give some palliatives to the citizens to cushion the effect on household standard of living and all of that. And since the withdrawal of the petroleum subsidy, we have seen people sliding back into poverty, and that was the reason why the federal government is also providing some forms of palliatives again. But the issue now is that the government, unfortunately, like in other countries where government is a continuum, in Nigeria, there seems to be a disconnect, probably because the incoming administration, both at the federal and the state level, maybe they did not properly understand the process. And with at least the Federal Executive Council now asking that yes, we'll work with the social register.
The Minister of the Humanitarian and Poverty Alleviation states that now we understand the NSR and we will rather review and update to capture a whole lot of
persons that may have fallen into poverty since the last update,
and or target other vulnerable groups that are not targeted in the NSR. So we are seeing that statement coming from the minister, and there is hope. There is hope that we are not going to discard a process that is globally accepted, but rather we are going to see to it that it is implemented in the best possible manner. The only thing is, are our states ready to also follow suit? Are our state executives willing to follow suit? And that's where we are worried. And so we are also using any medium possible to be able to, try to tell them some of this process that was done before we arrived at where we arrived at. Even CSOs were not part of the system from the initial.
Yeah.
But when they saw the level of work we were able to do during the COVID-19 palliative distribution, they had to bring us on board, because some people feel that CSOs are only just to come and shout and make noise, activism, fight. No, we are also for nation building. We want to be part of the process and want to support, because we want to see that people embrace governance.
Yeah.
There is a whole lot of distrust in the system, but the way forward is so that people will embrace governance. And to embrace governance, people need to see that there's a continuity in the kind of work we do. You can imagine, after the amount of money the state government, Kaduna State actually spent money for its own. Yes, during the expansion of the social register,
yes,
the then governor decided that let's expand this thing, and he put money into it. You can imagine if we drop that register, you know how much Kaduna State has now.
Taxpayers would have lost.
Taxpayers would have lost. So we would rather suggest that if we have to have, for instance, a roundtable discussion with our executives to be able to tell them what happened. We are ready to tell you from the level we were brought on board, and even give you a story, show you evidence of our engagement in the community, of how well this has spanned out over years, and then get you to understand why we are advocating that you should follow a process, a laid down process. At least it will enable people to trust the system, rather than, like as I'm talking to you now, I've already started receiving calls that it's the compensation time, is this thing, maybe they are going to use, they are not going to bring us. So all those assumptions that sort of make people move away from their government. It sort of bridges the trust and relationship between the people at the grassroots and the government, and we don't want it. We don't want that trust to be broken. We want people to continue to trust that government will do the rightful thing, and in order to do that, we need government to also support us in ensuring that we don't discard a process that has been scientifically proven.
All right, Ground Zero coming to you from Procyon Radio and Television in collaboration with Invicta FM, and you can watch us on Facebook and on YouTube at Procyon RTV. Of course, drop your comments and observations on our handles at Procyon RTV on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, or what have you. Basically, all of the popular social media handles, you'll find Procyon RTV. For those listening to us, Procyon is spelled Procyon RTV, shortened version of radio TV. That's Procyon RTV. Search for us and start to drop your comments and observations now as we open up the phone lines, also for callers to call in, even as we continue the discussion. The numbers to dial to be part of the program. We have a comment, observation, or a contribution to what we are talking about on the program today. You call the number 0809-799-1989. That's 0809-799-1989. The other number that you can also reach us by is 0809-4646-206. 0809-4646-206. And of course, the social media handles are at Procyon RTV. As we await your calls to start coming in now. All right, coming back to talking about Kaduna State and the social register now, and the need for the government to embrace and consider the social register even in their quest to reach out to the poor, rest of the poor in our communities. would you like to also tell us the quality of contributions that was made even at the community and of course traditional or religious level? But let's take this call first. Hello, good evening and welcome to Ground Zero.
Thank you very much. Good evening.
Good evening.
We are on to Mr. David from Kaduna.
All right, Mr. David.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure.
Nice.
I would like to talk about this issue of palliative.
All right, sir.
The federal government is making provision for palliative.
Yeah.
When I look at palliative as an error to the entire nation.
Why would you look at
coming from war? Nigeria is not coming from natural disaster. Nigeria is not coming from any disease outbreak or pandemic. What is the result of palliative? They say they are bringing it to quotient effect. How many people will palliative get to? How many people will palliative reach? So to me, I look at this as an error. So the issue of bringing palliative is not there. We should revive these dead or moribund refineries, all those dead companies. We should put them in order. We should make good establishment, make job positions, look at modalities for the common man.
all right?
Good foreign importation. Create the enabling environment for people to work. Not coming to say that bringing palliative. How many people will buy palliative reach? And who will benefit, who will not benefit? So the people do need to reach the rich, not even to reach the elite, not even before.
We cannot say that.
We will not serve the situation and do not help matters.
All right.
To aggravate poverty more. Because there will be a lot of diversion in the country. So it should be fair and transparent to Nigerians. If you make better provision for Nigerians, not coming to say they are bringing palliative. I think we are coming from war or any natural disaster or any disease outbreak or pandemic.
All right.
It's quite unfortunate. For me, I look at it as an error.
Okay.
Our side, the government of the state to scrap this issue of what I call it, this presidential system of government. It's the one causing all these problems. Because it's too expensive for Nigeria. They should go back to cabinet system of government. In the days of regionalism, we are not talking like this. So that is why I look at it. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much for stopping by this evening. But for the purpose of clarity, I'd like to state this angle. The palliative is not meant for everybody. It's meant for the poorest of the poor. Those that cannot survive without it. That's on one hand. And secondly, even when natural disasters and even economic disasters happen to a nation, government step in. I recall that the United States of America some years back did something similar when they had their global financial meltdown, and that was able to save the jobs of so many people and all of that, even the source of livelihood. Even as we speak, without even a disaster, many countries have their forms of palliative that are given as unemployment benefits. Let's take this call. Hello, good evening, and welcome to Ground Zero.
Good evening,
Good evening. What's your name and where are you calling us from?
my name is Otumba calling from Kaduna.
All right, Otumba, you are welcome.
I bet this social register, you went to do it. I think I'm not inside now.
You are not supposed to be inside since you can access Mr. Ehis online.
Yes.
Yes, now, since you have the source to even be able to call Mr. Ehis online, is a major disqualifier. Your community people, selected people that do not even have access to any form of livelihood.
Listen, we are in the metropolis and we belong. That's why the city has been called.
It's because they are in the metropolis.
Yeah, that's because we are in the city. That's why.
Yeah, so I agree. So you see, that's the perfect reason. Yes, so they were targeting more of the rural communities.
Yes, which is much better.
Yes.
Which is much better.
Yes.
Look, that's the only way we can get these things right. I'm always saying is that those that really need this to yes, in the town they need it, but at least we still have one or two friends that can
You have access. Those people don't even have access. Look at the roads in the rural.
And that is the only way this thing the impact can be felt seriously. The only one that would benefit us is that will benefit majority, even 80% or 90% is the transportation. Where people go to rich and the poor can access that. But when it comes to this palliative, I think the best for us is to go to internal rural areas which at least that's where people will feel the impact of the government. That's the only way I think we can do about it.
Thank
All
you
right.
very much.
Thank you so very much. Yes, yes.
My other one that you talk on the I'm not.
Oh, thanks for reminding me. Thanks for reminding me. I'm sure he totally forgot.
Because last week I was calling you after the program, maybe because I didn't tell you didn't carry the phone.
Sorry about that. Sorry about that. Something will be done. I'll remind him.
It's all right, sir. It's all right, sir.
Thank you so very much, Otumba. All right. 0809-4646-206 and 0809-7991-989 are the numbers to call. Hello, good evening. Okay, we just missed that call. All right. You are listening and watching the program Ground Zero coming to you on Procyon Radio and Television in collaboration with Invicta FM. And today on the program, we are looking at palliative distribution and the role of the social register, how important that register is, and the need for the government, both at the federal or national and state level, to embrace this register and see how we can improve on it and not to discard it, because so much has gone into the production of that social register and the persons captured in those registers, I would say to a large extent, by and by, over 90% from my estimation at some points. All right, so 0809-799-1989 and 0809-4646-206 are the numbers to dial to be part of the program. And it's coming to you right here on Procyon Radio and Television in collaboration. Yes, please.
Just to add that currently the state social register has 1,056,622 poor and vulnerable households. Households, not individuals. And then for the individuals, they have 3,953,809 individuals across the 23 LGs of the state. So you can imagine targeting these people. You know, targeting these specific numbers. And giving them, just concentrate on them. Give them roll out some interventions. Maybe first of all, you supply them with palliative in terms of cash.
Let's quickly take this call. Hello, good evening, and welcome to Ground Zero.
Good evening.
Good evening. You are welcome to the program.
Thank you. We are also Chief Sebastian from Marabari.
All right, Chief.
I want to thank you again for the way they are talking about the palliative. With respect in the right direction.
Okay.
So we encourage him and all of you so that the palliative will be shared well. Like in our area here, we never hear anything about the palliative sharing. So we want them to go to the Agbon to know how they will share it. There are many people hungry, so that they will give to them, that those that are really in need of the palliative. They have already agreed to share the palliative. It's just like that they would have become the thing that will reach many people, more than 80% of people, the construction of roads, industries, and the rest of them. But then they do the palliative the way it will reach those that are in need. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much, Chief. Hello, good evening, and welcome to Ground Zero.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening, you are welcome to the program. What's your name and where are you calling us from?
Comrade Kayode on the line, calling from Kaduna.
All right, Comrade Kayode.
Let me say something about the sharing of palliative.
Yeah.
I remember when I was in secondary school, we were told that no government, no meaningful government should share money to citizens because the end result of it will be negligence. We began to experience this right from the time of Buhari, and now under Tinubu, we are still talking about sharing of palliative. A proverb says that don't give me fish to eat, but teach me how to catch fish by myself. But I want to believe that Nigeria as a society where we have a lot of influential people, educated people, people that know the right thing to do, people that can hold their ground, their stand anywhere in the world. But for us to be in this kind of situation as if we are a society or a country of novice, it is something that really concern on a daily basis. I remember those days, there was a time when lawyers from Nigeria, judges from Nigeria, were being hired by other countries from Africa to arrange their judiciary. Even in the global field, we have many Nigerians that were serving them. That anywhere you go, the name of Nigeria always rings bells. But for us to degenerate so low to this kind of question we have for them, as if we don't even have the qualified people again to lead us in this part of the world.
All right.
It's a thing of concern.
Comrade Kayode, can I ask you a question?
It's not a
Comrade Kayode.
We shouldn't encourage sharing of palliatives.
Comrade Kayode, can we communicate?
Obasanjo was doing something this morning.
Comrade Kayode, can we communicate? I guess I may have to let you go because we are not communicating. All right, 0809 799 1989 and 0809 4646206. Hello, good evening, and welcome. Good evening. What's your name and where are you calling us from?
Hello?
Yeah, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. Can you hear us?
Hello, good evening. Here and again at the studio.
Good evening.
My name is Comrade Gabriel, the gentleman from Kaduna.
All right, Comrade Gabriel, let's have your take.
In fact, we appreciate your grace and yourself for being a little bit of our palliative. But sir, I always say on one thing, that why can't we use all these billions of naira to revive most of this our industry, like Kaduna Refinery, Warri, Port, and then over 170 things industry are closed. In fact, over 300 of them in over 100 plus in Kano. Kaduna here will have almost 10 that could employ massive employment for Nigerians. And let them go into this particular rolling in and others. If the government can invest this money to revive most of this industry, definitely I'm sure Singapore will not be worried, because if you employ me now, if you give me 500, even 5,000 every month, I'm sure to get that, definitely by the second of God, you will increase that money.
All right.
So we are saying, sir, that's your own opinion. Can't we invest this money to revive most of this industry to create massive employment for Nigerians? Because for today now, many of us have graduates who are with us, no work.
All right.
What after finishing their school and everything? So please, even as it is staying, I know I've got my own palliative from Motabada, but I thank God that I'm still using it.
Thank you so very much, Comrade Gabriel. Let's take our last call at this evening. Hello, good evening, and welcome to Ground Zero.
Hello, good evening, welcome, my brother, your administrator.
Thank you so very much, sir.
Mr. James coming from Tanzania in Kaduna.
All right, Mr. James, you are our last caller. Let's have your take.
Okay, I want to just make one statement. Yes, the approach of the government to share palliative is one of the things. Okay, but I look at that as just an elementary approach.
Why do you say that?
Is that why not the government fix the problem of the refinery? Because that is where the issue of subsidy is being a problem.
Okay.
Why not this money that they are giving to state government? If you calculate the billions of naira they are giving to state government, 5 states or 6 states alone can fix a refinery.
Okay.
Can revamp one of the refineries.
Yeah.
So I think the issue of palliative is okay, but palliative at all, as government is doing palliative to the forest of the poor, they can also really at this point be fixing one or two of the refineries.
Okay.
So I want to ask, if we take the fact that is there any refineries that the government is possibly working on to revamp? But they're not saying palliative that will not last for more than 2 months, and after that, everybody will go back on it.
Yeah, in the issue of refineries.
He mentioned it. I think the president mentioned it.
Hello?
Hello, yeah. The president is working on the refineries.
He had mentioned it in one of his press briefings. that
If they are mentioned, please, you people that are in the media, man pressure.
We'll
Yes.
follow up on that.
If they are serious on it, within 6 months, they can fix it. And then this program Palliative will be over. But then when you come down to the very major pressure, it's going to be done. That's the contribution. Thank you.
All right, thank you so very much. We may not be able to take any more calls as we round up the program this evening.
Yeah.
Coming back to you and to the studio now. And look, we heard from all of the callers. Some were for, some were against, and all of that. Just give us your parting shot in respect of the program, because we have barely 3 minutes to wrap up this program this evening.
Okay, so my parting words is that we want to see a place where government will give us a playing field for both civil society and the government to sit down and come up with ways that we can effectively, in fairness, transparency, provide a system that works for all.
Okay.
And so in doing that, we are saying that you should give us a chance to be able to tell you or be able to show you how important it is for us to follow the process. But you can't subject it to review and update. And so we want that review and update rather than a total discarding of the register. So we should be hearing that our governor is using the SSR as a targeting means for palliative. You see, when we hear that, we say, oh, the governor is really interested in the people, ensuring that the people have access to what is rightfully theirs. Remember that social protection is a right.
Yeah. It's
not a privilege. So even the palliative is the right of that targeted persons, which is the poor and vulnerable, to access it. So for them to access it, we need to be able to tell them that it is following a process, and those people that are captured are those that will have access to it. Thank you.
All right, you're valid. And before we wrap up on the program, I still also want to let some of the callers that called in that they are questioning the fact or the need for palliatives. Now, first, it is not meant for everybody. It's meant for the poorest of the poor, based on a scientifically developed and compiled list called the State Social Register. And that's on one hand. Then secondly, palliatives also comes in just like in Kaduna State, where the governor has broken into about 4 or 5 stages.
Yeah.
Yes. So the first one will come where they need to provide food for the poorest of the poor. Then there's a stage where they'll fix some infrastructure. There's a stage where they'll have some form of discounted transportation and all of that. And all of this would help in resolving some of the issues that may result because of the withdrawal of fuel subsidy. I want to thank you so very much, Jessica, for having time to be on the program today.
For having us here. We are delighted, and we are always available to come here so that we can educate our viewers on some of the things that are happening in government. All right.
Jessica Bethlomew is the chairperson of the Kaduna Social Protection Accountability Coalition, the coalition of civil society organizations, media, and other networks coming together to ensure that no one is left behind and everybody is protected from slipping or falling into poverty. Before we wrap up the program this evening, I'd like to appreciate the management and staff of Invicta FM, and also not forgetting the production team. Thank you so very much, Wisdom Agulana, for linking us up there, and to Nifemi Onibiyo for uplinking Procyon stream to Invicta FM. I'd also want to appreciate Michael Praise, Kende Onibiyo, also Ehis, Agbon, and of course FOC Agbon, not forgetting the production team lead, Sarah Agbon, for putting all of these together. Until on Friday, God willing, when we'll be on again for another package of the program right here on Procyon Radio and Television. I want to say this to you like always: whatever your labors and aspiration in this noisy confusion of life, learn to keep peace with your soul, with all its charm, drudgery, and broken dreams. It's a beautiful world that we live in. Be careful, strive to be happy, but most importantly, keep shining like the star that you are.
The money that I collected is honorable that brought
Destiny
to
of
me.
Can you make a contribution to Nigerian peace?
Me, the
Yeah, you
truth
know,
is
this
that
is
I want all of now look into this policing in Nigeria. We want to take steps every day to make this country a better place.
New Nigeria is
Education's telling them it's time to change.
All colors, shades, angles, and perspectives can be overwhelming in our present world of information overload. This is introducing Ground Zero. Ground Zero is a current affairs discussion phone-in program covering topical issues in the polity. The program is a platform for an in-depth analysis of trending issues by professionals, authorities in various fields, analysts, and key actors in the polity. Ground Zero gives the listener an opportunity to contribute to the discussion via phone call, SMS, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. From the conservatively serious to the ridiculously funny, Ground Zero accommodates them all. Professionals, urban contemporary businessmen and women, policymakers, public service workers, students, artisans, traders, and the in-between. Ground Zero comes up from 5 to 6 p.m. every Tuesday and Friday on Invicta FM and 5 to 6 p.m. every weekday on Procyon Radio and Television. Ground Zero is a production of the Procyon Media. Tune in.